Decorating Center. Good morning to you. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Art Lewis Show. Coming up after the 10 o'clock news, we'll learn about Covenant at Home. And at 11 o'clock this morning, we'll chat with Coldwell Bankers. All of that ahead. But for this hour, there is a program. We have talked about it, I think, since its inception. I don't know how many years that's been. We'll find out now. But it's called Lock It or Lose It. It's a Saginaw Township created program with the Saginaw Township Police Department in cooperation with Saginaw Bay Underwriters, and we'll talk more about that. And it is a program that's been copied elsewhere because it's been so successful. And with us this morning to talk about it, first of all, from Saginaw Bay Underwriters, it's head honchos. We say good morning to Peter Ewan. Peter, good morning to you.
Morning, Art. Great to be with you again for another year.
How many?
15 years.
It's been. I've wondered how long it's been. Also with us from the Saginaw Township Crime Prevention Unit, we say good morning to Officer Grant Gotchke. Good morning.
Good morning.
Grant, good to see you. And Lyle Esterhigh, who is also in the CPU.
Good morning, Art.
Morning, guys. How long you guys been in the CPU? Grant?
I'm new to the unit. I've been in there for probably about 3 months now, 20 years as a police officer.
New to the unit, and he throws them to the wolves right off the bat. Look at that. And Lyle, how long you been in it?
Right, Art. So 3 years, actually, in April. And
in the CPU?
In CPU,
oh,
correct.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And Saginaw Township is blessed to have that CPU. It's not usual for departments to have it.
No, it's really...
Not around here, anyway.
Yeah, it's gaining a lot of attraction, I think. A lot of agencies are doing something to that kind of stature. We're unique. Our crime prevention unit is comprised of 3 officers dedicated to each district within the township, and we act as a liaison to the community, actually, that point of contact. And it's a great way for... building partnerships within the community, whether it's from the schools to our businesses and neighborhoods. And it's been a really valuable asset to us. So I've seen it from working with my previous agency of how successful it's been. So definitely a great thing.
And Grant, do you have patrol responsibilities besides, or are you pretty much doing CPU work?
Most of it consists of the crime prevention. There's times where we do respond to calls for service. Especially if it's a repeat call and it's in a neighborhood where we're trying to take care of an ongoing problem. We'll work with either the businesses or the schools, apartment complexes to try to solve these issues.
So you almost become like a beat cop, don't you, in a way,
in
your
a way,
district?
Yeah, a lot of people in the neighborhood get to recognize us because we spend a lot of time over there. And so a lot of times they'll reach out to us. That way it frees up patrol to handle other calls.
All right, so tomorrow there's a big press conference about Lock It or Lose It. How did it all come about, Pete?
Actually, the Township Police approached us with this idea, and we got a hold of Frankenmuth Insurance. That's where the press conference is going to be tomorrow. So between Frankenmuth Insurance and Saginaw Bay Underwriters, we became co-sponsors on this. So we underwrite different things that we do, including things like billboards out in the community. And what's so neat about it, Art, is those billboards, it's not just for Saginaw Township. You have people passing through Saginaw Township that live in other communities, and to be able to see that billboard, take that message home, and the impact that it's had. So we'll talk about those numbers in a second, but the impact that this campaign has had has been measurable. And to me, that's what's been really rewarding, is to see something that we can do to make a difference in the community.
And who was the chief? Was it Renico or was it Purcell back then?
Chief Purcell actually was currently acting. Yep.
That's what I thought. So you guys are on the streets all the time. You see the results. From the time Lock It or Lose It came along, and Grant, you've been around long enough to see it, has it made a significant difference in calls?
Well, just to bring up some stats here for you, we incorporated the program in 2011. So from the years 2001 till 2011, our average of a larceny from auto complaint was we averaged about 220 per year. Okay. So then after, from 2011 until 2024, after we implemented the program and began doing the signs for the awareness and getting people to lock up their stuff, our average fell from 220 to 111 per year.
And still going down?
And still going down. Currently, right now, year to date, for Saginaw Township, our larceny from auto numbers, last year in 2024, we're at 25, and currently we're at 7.
Wow. And the program hasn't really been kicked off yet. Tomorrow is the big kickoff. So let's do an overview of Lock It or Lose It. What's it all about?
Really, Arts is bringing awareness, right? We always want you to remove items from your car if possible, right? But nowadays, everyone's busier. A lot of things are going on. We get, hectic schedules. And sometimes, we do get forgetful and we leave items in our car. But if we have to leave items in our car, we want you to obviously lock your vehicle and keep them out of sight, right? I think of specifically like during shopping season or Christmas season when people are buying things at the stores and they put stuff back in their cars, leaving things in plain sight, right, versus putting them in your trunk out of sight and not locking their cars. So when you do something that's so simple, right, it's so preventative. I mean, you're literally just locking your door, keeping things out of sight, right, if you have to leave them in your car. Again, we always recommend you take them out of your car if you can, but it's just bringing awareness, just something so simple, and sometimes we just forget to do that, right? But it's so preventable. And I think that prevents other crimes from happening too, right? Because it is a crime of opportunity. One thing leads to the next, right? So if you're leaving items in your car, that could lead for your neighbor's car being broken into as well, or maybe even going into a property crime.
We should point out this is not just for public parking lots and major stores. It can happen in your own driveway.
Absolutely, and that's actually where we've seen most of them occur is in your driveway. So, anytime you walk away from your vehicle, parking lot, driveway, right, lock it. It's just that easy.
And the campaign is now, but year-round, isn't it? I mean, it really is something you have to be mindful of.
Right. We obviously always see an uptick during the summer months when the weather is warmer, more people are out and about. But you're right. This is our awareness time of the year because we're getting into that warm weather season. But you're right. It is year-round. And it will always happen as long as people leave their doors unlocked, right? So we're just trying to bring awareness. And I think continually doing so, I think, does help people, keep them, remind them of to do such a simple thing.
And Pete, what does it mean to somebody's auto or homeowner insurance? What's covered? If I leave a bunch of packages in the back of my car and somebody comes and rips me off, am I covered?
You're covered for it, Art. It would be under your homeowner's policy is where you're going to find coverage. But here's the problem. Number one, deductibles are increasing on homeowners' policies right now, so a $1,000 deductible isn't unusual. So I leave my iPhone sitting in my car. It gets stolen. I don't turn it in at that point because it's around $1,000. So that's $1,000 out of my pocket at that point. So what we're seeing right now is by having people take those necessary precautions, it's better to prevent something from happening than it is to turn an insurance claim in. And candidly, in the insurance market today, as you turn a claim in, your rates go up. So it's not only the fact that you turn the claim in, it's the fact that maybe your insurance goes up $300 a year for the next 3 years. That's a hidden cost or an unintended consequence when you turn that claim in. So you have a $1,000 deductible, your insurance goes up $1,000. Now it's $2,000 out of pocket for a crime that could be prevented so easily.
And Grant, let me ask this, in terms of reporting it, if I have a package or an iPhone or something stolen from my car, I should report it, shouldn't I?
Absolutely. Even if it was something small, it allows our patrol officers to know where the incidents are occurring, to where we can increase patrols and be more mindful of what activity is going on in that particular area of the township.
Have we had any success catching culprits?
Absolutely, yep. We have. In the last few years, we've actually caught a few. I don't know if you want to call it a ring, but some people that were organized and working together.
Because usually it's not just a one-off.
Correct.
If they've done one, they've probably done a bunch others.
Several, yes.
All right. We're going to take a break. Come back. We are talking about the Lock It or Lose It campaign, sponsored by Saginaw Township Police Department and Saginaw Bay Underwriters. How to protect yourself against losing your valuables while in your car. Let me take a moment to talk about McDonald Ford in Freeland. You probably noticed it's getting harder and harder to find products made in America. And then add to that the uncertainty of the tariffs, and it became even more important. McDonald Ford, in anticipation of the tariffs, stocked their lot with tariff-free vehicles and many more en route. Not only are they tariff-free, but Ford is offering employee pricing for everyone. And that means you simply pay the same price as a Ford employee. In addition, Chrysler and import buyers, if they're considering a Ford, also receive the lowest price offered. And Chevy truck buyers can now think about a Ford F-150, the best-selling pickup in America, also at employee pricing. So you see, right now is the right time to visit McDonald Ford M47 in Freeland for the best selection and the lowest possible price. And by the way, Ford has announced they have extended that employee pricing through July 6th. Don't let tariffs prevent you from getting the vehicle of your choice at a price you can afford. Visit McDonald Ford in Freeland today. Remember, tariff-free and employee pricing for everyone.
The neighborhood watch groups were a real big thing. That was kind of like when it really started kicking off. But as the generations have gotten older and people have gotten busier, and we've seen less of them. So they are still out there, but just not as many.
And you do something else in the township, too. You have this Citizens Academy. Tell us a little bit about that. And what does someone do who joins the Citizen Academy? What do they learn?
So our Citizens Police Academy is something you can sign up. Usually we start advertising that around National Night Out time, which is in August. Mm-hmm. And it's just a program that gives you an inside view of what goes on at the police department day to day. I mean, you see everything from our patrol operations to our investigations. I believe they get to go on tour of the jail, central dispatch. Just gets a real inside look at what we do every day. You get presentations from our emergency services team, our detective bureau, narcotics, all kinds of stuff. You get to go on a ride along. I believe they still even offer you a chance to get tased if you like.
Don't look at me. I'm not volunteering for that one.
I would share with you, I'm a graduate of that program, and it was on Wednesday nights, and I just couldn't wait for Wednesday night to come around from all the information I learned. But I think my biggest takeaway from it was the appreciation or further appreciation that I got of the police, of what they go through, and things that you just don't see every day. They share a lot of information in that program with you, and I'd really encourage anyone that can do it to sign up for it. It's just a great thing to be a part of.
Well, there's bad news, good news about policing, and the bad news started, I think, probably with George Floyd. The good news, though, I think, and this is just on my part as an observer, I think we've turned the corner in how police are viewed. It was very difficult to recruit for a long time. Recruiting seems to be loosening a little bit. Have you guys seen much of a change?
Yeah, in going back, I definitely think the pendulum is swinging more in favor of the police, of what we do and what we're really about. Retention, I think, is tough for a lot of police agencies, not only in Michigan, but actually countrywide.
Well, I remember a day when you talked to an officer today, the next thing you knew he was working for Las Vegas because they were hiring by the ton.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of starting to happen again, too. As a matter of fact, when I started my career here 20 years ago, there was maybe a couple of jobs for the entire state, and it was not uncommon to have a couple of hundred people, if not 1,000 people apply for this job for one position, and you're one of that many. And now it's the complete opposite. Now it's like you can't find enough people to fill these spots. So, we're actually currently hiring right now, as a matter of fact. We do have a couple of candidates coming through the background process. So, but we're always, taking applications, and much like a lot of other agencies.
Yeah, it's created a problem for agencies because agencies are cherry picking from other agencies. It's like a revolving door in some ways.
Yeah, there's more competition now, right? So now it's kind of, when I was just excited to become a police officer, I wasn't worried so much about my benefit package, but now that all these places are hiring, now everyone's starting to become more competitive in offering, and it's now candidates are able to pick and choose now.
You're also at a point in your career when your benefit package becomes real important.
That's right.
Grant, what made you become a police officer?
Just wanted.
You're 20 years too, right?
20 years, Yep. 20 years this year. just wanted to be out there and help the community, do something different every day. Didn't want to be tied down to an office per se. Just to touch back though on what you're talking about, the pendulum swinging. We try to foster a relationship with our community here in Saginaw Township. We try to listen and be transparent, do the things that are important to residents of Saginaw Township, and it's something that we value as partnerships with our community.
And the township has been blessed by a supportive community.
Absolutely.
It's one of the few that has a millage big enough to allow a CPU, for example. What does the CPU mean to the business community?
Well, we act as liaisons to business community. We have we stop into our businesses regularly, talk with managers, see what if there's any ongoing issues that they're having, and any other complaints that they have. They reach out. I know just here a few weeks ago, one of our local businesses reached out and asked if they could have an officer for a safety day that they were doing. So we had an officer up there on a Saturday to pass out some information and talk about safety with the customers.
That the public side of policing and getting out there and meeting the public in a non-threatening environment is important, isn't it? Because most people only come in contact with police for a negative traffic stop, victim, what have you.
Yeah, absolutely. This building partnerships is so key for us, right? It's seen us more on the human side. And a lot of times when you think of the police, and it isn't typically a bad situation, right? It's either a result of a 911 call because something bad is happening, whether it's a car crash or a crime that's happened. We're typically meeting you at your worst times, right? And so we're able to do these things to build those partnerships, to see us and on the human side of law enforcement, right? And maintaining a positive image for us, right? And so we're so actively involved with our community from, like I said, all aspects, especially our schools, right? Being a positive role model or mentorship for these children and get them at a really young age.
One of my favorite sayings from an officer had occasion a number of years ago. I was driving to Pennsylvania to relatives and stopped at one of the rest areas and happened to park next to a Pennsylvania state trooper. We got to talking. And at the end of the conversation, he says, well, it's time for me to go. I got to get back in my car and tick off the public one person at a time. And I said, I relate to that. I understand that. We're going to take a break and be back with our guest. Lock it or lose it. Big press conference tomorrow we'll tell you about.
Be the hero of your office. Swing.
The rest is sort of history on it, but I took a class in college, really enjoyed it, and so I worked 3 years outside of insurance and then got into insurance after that and been in it ever since.
The partners approached you after Dad left practice? Or?
No, well, my dad was still there, yeah. So,
how did they do that with the no nepotism rule?
Well, they bent the rule. So.
Cover your ears, guys. And you've been at it how long now? I mean, ever since I've known you. So.
Yeah, well, I started back in 1987 in it. And my dad was a part of it, unfortunately passed too early, so passed away in 2000.
Yeah.
And and been a part of it all along, and just great opportunity. I think it's a lot like policing, right? You're there to help people out in their toughest times, right? So a loss comes along, and that's really where you're there. And no different than in policing, right? Something bad can happen. I mean, and they're there to help you out.
I always looked at insurance as betting against myself. When you think about it.
Yeah, well, that is true. I hope you win, Art, and that you don't have to turn a claim in.
Well, me too. That's true. And I know my dad, he passed too young, too. He was a special agent in Treasury. He was a Fed. And always wanted me to follow in his footsteps. Always. I said, Dad, just have no interest in law enforcement. Till now. All of a sudden, you wake up one morning and go, gee, I think I'll do that,
Well, I have a brother that's a neurosurgeon, so I always kid that my brother got the good looks and the smarts in the family, and here I sit. So, but it's worked out all right. So.
Yeah, I guess. So, let me ask you guys. You're both police officers, been police officers 20 years. What do you tell a youngster why they should think about policing as a career? Grant? I'll ask both of you, Lyle. You're not getting away.
It's a good job. It's a fulfilling job, and there's always going to be a need for it. And you can really make a difference in people's lives and in the community. You can help people at their worst hours, like we've talked about, and hopefully solve a few crimes on the way, along the way.
Yeah, but it's funny too. You can help at their best hours too. You give away scholarships. I mean, you're
Yep,
making a highlight reel.
Yeah, we just awarded last week at our award ceremony a $1,000 scholarship to a local Saginaw Township student. That's from the Saginaw Township Police Officers Association, and we're lucky enough to be able to do that again this year.
All right, so Lyle, what do you tell them?
Yeah, I would definitely agree completely with what he said. If I had to do it all over again, I would do it in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even have to think twice. It's definitely a calling, and I think, again, helping people in their darkest times was probably the biggest reason I got into it. I wanted to be their light, I guess, right, for them, and to be able to give back, being a part of a positive thing in the community, and it's just all the little things, right? Again, building those partnerships with people, and having a family of myself, I wanted, to have my family grow up in an area where they feel safe, because if you don't have safety, you don't have much, right?
How has the interior of that patrol car changed?
Oh man,
I know the answer because I've seen them, but
it's a lot more technology than when I started. I'll tell you that. We were,
but a lot less writing.
That's true. A
lot
less writing, a lot more typing. Everything is streamlined now. From a traffic stop to a ticket to a crash report, it's all electronic now. Everything. The days of pen and paper are past us.
Yeah, way past. And you're in this studio where there's no tape, everything is in the computer now.
Yeah, you can basically do your entire job off of your computer.
You never have to leave the car.
No, not really.
Realistically, you don't have to go in the office and file your reports and all that stuff. It's all there, right?
Right. We can type our reports from our car. We do our tickets, off the printer. Essentially everything can be done on a computer. When we started, we didn't have any of that. We just had our radio and our lights, right? Now we have our computers and our printers and everything else that with it. So it's definitely changed a lot.
You still might have to write down your 40 different passwords, though, that you use every day. So.
You guys fill out a log sheet?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's pen and paper. That's pen and paper.
Nope,
Or
all,
that's in the computer,
all
too?
All computerized, yep.
Oh, yeah.
You
guys
submit
got it easy. I have to write it down.
Submit it electronically. You keep track of it on the computer and submit it at the end of your shift.
No kidding. That makes it easy.
Yep.
That makes it easy. We're old-fashioned in the support unit. We still have to write our logs every day.
Sometimes easier to write it.
Sometimes it is, yeah. We'll be right back with more, and we'll tell you about the press conference tomorrow.
The time has come to ask Attorney
Program in studio with us. We have Peter Ewan. He heads up Saginaw Bay Underwriters in affiliation with Frankenmuth Insurance. They co-sponsored the Lock It or Lose It program. And from the Saginaw Township Crime Prevention Unit in the Police Department, we have Grant Gotchi and Lyle Esterhigh. And guys, there is a press conference tomorrow, is there not? The whens and wheres, Peter?
There is. It's going to be at 2 o'clock tomorrow at Frankenmuth Insurance out in Frankenmuth, Michigan. We're hoping to have
their main
it,
office right there on Junction, right?
Their main office, yeah. We're hoping to have it outside if the weather cooperates. So we'll be out on the front lawn, and the public is welcome to join us for that. We're going to announce the kickoff of another year of Lock It or Lose It. And
you're too late. We just did.
Well, that's true. You stole our thunder, but that's okay. So
I think we've done that every year, though. So.
You have.
But the program gets underway. And, again, what do you tell the public about storing stuff in their cars?
Basically, the safe rule of thumb is don't store stuff in your cars. Take in any valuables. If you don't take them in, keep them out of sight. Keep your vehicles locked. Everyone these days has a key fob. You just got to press that button when you get out of the car. And it doesn't hurt to turn on an outside light at nighttime, and just help deter some of those crimes from happening.
I know a lot of people who have SUVs, me included. The first thing they do when they get it is they take out the big cover in the back that pulls and covers things. You really shouldn't. I mean, that's a usable serviceable item, isn't it?
Yeah,
Something
absolutely.
you really should use.
It can help keep stuff out of sight, help keep the sun off things. But the safest thing that I'll fall back on is just take the stuff inside with you. Don't leave your purse, your wallet, your valuables, your phone, your wallets, anything like that. It doesn't need to stay in the car. Take it in the house with you and lock the vehicle.
And what happens if somebody has suspicious activity in their neighborhood, Lyle?
Yeah, absolutely. Call us, right? We have to be aware of what's happening in the neighborhood.
And let me ask a question real quick, because callers can mean a lot of things. Should they call 911 or should they call the department number? What should they do?
Always call 911. That goes directly right to dispatch, and then it goes right to the officer. If you call the office, there could be a delay potentially, right? Because that would come into one of our secretaries.
Because they're going to call 911 and say.
Right. So there's just going to be an added delay to that. So yes, we need to know about suspicious activity going on. And if your car's been rummaged through but nothing was taken, you still need to call us, right? Because something's happened. If we don't know about it, we can't act on it.
And that really is, you try to develop a pattern, don't you?
Yeah.
It does help.
Absolutely. We try to have officers, kind of like really hit a hard, hit an area that's been, concentrate in an area. Officers tend to, they'll park down the street or another road and turn the lights off and get out of the car and actually walk the neighborhoods. And I've actually done that myself over the years when I worked on nights. And so we've been very lucky because it's the element of surprise right at that point.
Let me ask one other thing that the township has done over the years. You've set up sting operations for shoplifters. How are we doing with that crime? Have we made any improvements, or is this day and age with its economy the way it is tough?
It's we do our we call it our retail fraud blitz.
Yeah.
And we work with the area stores, loss prevention, and we have seen our numbers go down dramatically and for our blitzes the last several years. Not to say that it's not ongoing problem, with the theft. I think it is. Some of the stores, these corporate stores, have changed their policies, but we definitely take it serious, and we try to address it as much as we can, and we just try to keep those partnerships with the local businesses and their loss prevention, so we can help curtail some of it.
And it really is a partnership, isn't it? When you guys go into businesses, it's a partnership.
Absolutely. They call us if they have anything going on. A lot of our managers will have our direct line number, and they can call us, and we can work with them on anything that they might have going on.
And Pete, from an insurance standpoint, how do they make a claim?
How do they make a claim? Well, all you have to do is call your local agent and give us a call if you're insured with us. We'll turn the claim in.
So let me ask the important question. I call you up and say, my iPhone was stolen. My laptop was stolen. How do I prove it?
Well, you're going to have a police report is the easiest way to do it. So hopefully, as we talked about reporting any suspicious activity, right, that we let the police know on it so they know that that's happening in that area. But that also gives us what we need to be able to file a claim at that point as well.
All right. 2 o'clock tomorrow?
2 o'clock tomorrow.
Frankenmuth Insurance in Frankenmuth. Pete, thanks for being with us as always.
As always, Art, thank you for having us on.
Grant, Lyle, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for your service. And we will be back to close out right after these notes.
Get ready for tail wagging fun.
Chat with you right after the news.
Broadcasting from the